Amelie. Hello from Santa Clarita?
Santa Clarita.
Santa Clarita, California. That's where I am. I'm here with Amelie Le-Roche from Board Game Broads. So kindly let me stay with you last night. Thank you. I appreciate it. So another surprise bonus episode of Board Game Broadscast. Gonna chat with another broad and see what you're up to, see the projects that you're working on. I know you have some Kickstarters coming up, so we can definitely talk about that. So maybe just so people kind of get a sense of like who you are, maybe tell us when you started first designing games, your background with games and maybe art and all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an animator for video games, and so a couple of years ago, I had to take some time off, and initially I wanted to make my own video games, but I only know the art side and coding and all that. It's just something my brain cannot understand. So I was like, well, I can make video games, but board games, I can do that.
Right.
So so I just started doing that, and
awesome.
figured out what I was doing.
Very cool. I'll just kind of jump into it. I think your background in video games is really interesting. Like, how has that sort of affected how you design board games, like your background in the video game world?
Just being mindful of what the player could do, or what the experiences were, the decisions that were brought up to the player, and kind of guiding that experience.
Right.
But still having some agency.
Right.
So a little bit of that, and then I've connected with a lot of other board game designers, and they've actually taught me a lot about what's different about board games than video games. So
okay. Yeah. And what are some differences that you see there?
I think you want to give the player a lot more freedom than you do in video games, because video games, otherwise you can end up wandering all the time, and players might not mind that as much. Whereas board games, you do want a clear goal and kind of, end game and a clear idea of like victory points and all that.
Right.
That's not really something that's in video games, except for like, if you're doing a fighting game or whatnot. But,
Right. Yeah, there's a lot more sort of wandering or exploring in video games that you might not necessarily have in board games, because if it's turn-based especially, you don't want to be sitting there while someone's just kind of exploring a forest for like 20 minutes.
Weird empty video game, turn-based.
Oh, that's really cool. So you've just been just about a year, and it kind of seems like you've dived right in, because you already have run one successful Kickstarter. You already have a couple more planned. So you're kind of going... right
all in.
So that's good.
Yeah, and I've met some really cool people. Community is super supportive.
Yeah.
So sure, anybody can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what is the design scene like here? So we're near LA. Is a pretty big, vibrant design community.
There are so many designer groups here, which I'm really fortunate to be a part of. Yeah. So I've joined about at least 3 different groups.
Oh, nice.
Some on Meetup, some on Facebook. And so that means I end up doing playtests almost every weekend.
Perfect.
So it's quite busy. But it's great because it's different groups of people, so I get different perspectives and different kinds of feedback.
Yes, you don't just have the same 4 people giving the same feedback all the time.
Exactly.
That's really good. So when you first started getting into this and your first designs, how did you decide which one you wanted to do the first Kickstarter with?
So I actually created Dino Dig as a birthday present for my husband.
Oh, cool.
So that was like the main idea. And it was such a simple game that I felt like it was doable. And it didn't have a lot of components or whatnot. So it was like, for my first try, then this is perfect because it's small.
Yes.
It's manageable.
Yes.
So,
start small.
Yeah.
That's always a good, plan. That's great. So, so I wanted to ask you about, so you decided to do a Kickstarter for Dino Dig rather than pitch it to publishers.
Yes.
And what was your decision-making process for that?
Well, I was pretty new, so I didn't know how to pitch. I didn't have any connections.
Yeah.
I didn't really have the funds to go to any conventions or anything like that. so I figured I'd just try Kickstarter because I was more familiar with that, and I backed a couple of games on there. So that's mainly the reason why I did it that way. In the future, I would love to try pitching to some publishers and see what happens there.
Try both avenues and kind of see what works out. But running a Kickstarter, so how was that for you, running your first Kickstarter?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of unknowns, but overall I had a blast, and it was really great to see the whole process and to engage with the fans. I had several messages from people that played with their kids, and it was just so touching. One of the backers, actually one of my reviewers, he was like, it was his son's like go-to game for the summer.
Oh, great!
And it was just, it was very encouraging. So
with the game that is aimed towards like families and kids, how did you play test that? Were there lots of like kids that you can have play test it, or?
I did not play test it with that many children, but it's not too complex. So
you can.
It was fine. I think at one of the pub events there were a few younger kids that play tested it. I also play tested it with my younger nieces, which we had to alter the rules quite a bit. But it was still fun, and they were still having a good time.
Perfect. So. Okay. And dinosaurs are always a good.
Who doesn't love dinosaurs? Really.
So can you tell us a bit about how the game plays? So let's talk about Dino Dig first.
So it's a set collection game. So what we do, we have a bunch of tiles, dirt cards, and we lay them out in a 5x5 grid, 3 layers. So there's depth to dig.
Cool.
And there's 3 different types of tiles. So there's simple, rocky, and bones. So, and that represents different risk levels, because there's also so in the game you dig up fossils, but you could also dig up scorpions, which would be negative points. So each of these is different risk level. So you have to figure out what strategy you want. If you want to get more, if you want to amass more of the smaller dinosaurs with less risk of negative points, or if you want to go for the big ones, the Brachiosaurus, that is potentially worth the most points.
But higher risk of scorpions.
So it's a set collection game because you're trying to complete dinosaurs. So this is the T-Rex. It's a 3-piece, so the more pieces you have, the more points you can earn.
Oh, okay, cool. And that's cool. You actually can build them out and connect them and actually see the.
A couple of players have tried to mix and match, but that's not accepted by the museum. But yes, and also players have tools, so everybody has the same tools. They have their own deck of cards of little abilities that they can use on their turn.
Cool.
So, for example, the boots lets you move farther in case there's something interesting. The gloves lets you swap with another player, so you can go to their dig site.
Cool.
And then the wheelbarrow, which allows you to move dirt around.
Okay, cool. So, and are those one-time abilities?
They're one-time abilities.
Cool. And I don't know if you can see the art, but like it's beautiful. So your background's in video games, but like designing the art for video games, right? So the art is just like fantastic. Looks great.
Thanks. It's been a fun process.
And so this one successfully funded this past fall.
It funded in June, I believe, and then we fulfilled in September.
Awesome. So that was the first one. That's a great little game. Successful Kickstarter. So what do you have coming up next?
So next, we're launching Circus Corgis in February, and this is a trick-taking game.
And yes, you heard that right, Circus Corgis.
Yes, it's a game with corgis doing tricks. So we have a clown corgi, we have a corgi on a unicycle. There's, I don't know if
corgi on a unicycle.
Yes. There's one where he's actually like riding it because there's different skills. So it's a trick-taking game. So whoever wins the hand wins the points, and it also has some bidding. The twist on this one is that
Yeah, there you go. Can I see? Here, I'll show you.
that's my favorite, I think.
That's an instant back if I've ever seen one.
And then there's this one where he's balancing some plates, but
Nice.
the lower cards he actually broke the plates.
No, oh, no.
Yes. So in Circus Corgis, players can also earn treats, and treats are kind of a resource that you can use during the game. So here this would be a 1, but if you use a treat, if you give a treat to your pup, he can play as a 15. So you have the option of playing your card at a higher value, but your resources are limited.
Right.
So, and the way that works is at the beginning of the round, once you have all the cards dealt, each player bids on how many tricks they think they're going to win out of 9.
Mm-hmm.
And if they successfully hit that, then they win trophies, which are victory points, and also treats, which can be used in the next round or so.
And this is really interesting too, because you can say, are you going to win a range? So like, I think I'll win between 0 and 2 tricks. Or you can be specific and be like, I'm going to win exactly 4 tricks. And if you do that, you get more. You get more trophies. And then you also have 0 too. So if you're like, okay, if I'm going to try to not get any tricks at all, which is really interesting.
It's hard to do though. Especially towards the end of the round, because there's only some cards left. So if you're the lead player, then there's nobody that might have your card. So it's interesting. Do you use a treat to win your tricks and then do the next one, or
that's really
it's a good game, and it's a short game. It's about 20 to 30 minutes, so you can play a game, pretty quickly. Nice quick little
game. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if so it's a trick taking game.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, oh, it's a trick taking game. It should be dog themed because they do tricks.
Yeah, that was the main idea.
Okay, I think I'm seeing your thought process there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we love corgis. We used to have a corgi, and he was so smart.
Yeah.
It's like, if any dog can do tricks that work at the circus, it's got to be corgis.
Yeah. That's so great. So I say, hey, Kathleen, wish you were here. Well, you're just imagining you're right here.
Straight left.
Yeah. And Richard says, nice, dinosaurs are always a winner. It's true.
Yes.
It's true. Dinosaurs is such a great theme.
Yeah.
I went to the prehistoric gardens in Oregon. It's super cool. So it's just like this forest, and it's just like walking around the forest, which is amazing by itself. But then they have life-size replicas of dinosaurs amongst the trees. It's really cool.
I went to the Natural History Museum here in LA just to get some sketching and do some drawing for reference for the game. So it was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's maybe chat about your next Kickstarter, which is a co-design. So these were all you.
These are pretty much all me.
Including the art, which is awesome.
Yes. I've gotten a lot of feedback from playtesters, so I feel like me taking the whole credit is not.
It's true. The playtesters are. I see that the exact same way.
Yeah.
That I am a solo designer. I don't do a lot of co-designs, but playtesters are collaborators. Absolutely.
Definitely. And I don't think these games would have turned out so well without the awesome feedback from friends, from other designers, from playtesters at events. Yeah, it's been great.
And you're actually taking it to an all-day playtesting event tomorrow.
Yes, in Escondido near San Diego. So
if you're near San Diego, you can play Circus Corgis.
At Escalon, and then we'll also be at Dice Tower West.
Perfect.
I've never been there, so I don't know if there's like an open gaming or like an actual unpub or cruise field.
Has anyone watching been to Dice Tower?
But
how does playtesting work at Dice Tower? From what I understand, it's pretty loosey-goosey. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know.
Also,
I'm gonna have a blast though.
What is it? Beg for forgiveness, not permission. So I'll just do it, and then if
Yeah. Maybe I'll just wear a shirt with a huge corgi on it. If you see
yes,
me.
there you go. We should also say, when is this launching?
This is launching February 26th. So in about a little over a month.
Yes. Yeah. So put that in your calendar.
And I'm excited. Actually, I'm doing something that I haven't exactly seen. What we're doing for this Kickstarter, we're not doing stretch goals.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is during the campaign, there's gonna be a few decisions that backers exclusively are gonna get to decide on.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the border on the cards,
Okay.
card back, is it gonna be white or black? That's gonna be up to backers completely.
That's cool.
So
yeah, that's fun for people to have sort of that, to feel involved in that way, and to have influence over the look.
Yeah, and like player colors, I don't know what they're gonna be. It's gonna be the backers are gonna get to vote on what the player colors are gonna be for this game.
That's fun. And that's one of the great things about Kickstarter, is that the backers really feel part of the project, and like they're supporting it, but they're also involved in it.
Yeah, I do want to keep the backers involved. Mm-hmm. The game is it's pretty much finished, but there's some little things like that it doesn't really affect the overall game, but it does add to it. So it's all up to you guys.
Yeah, there you go. February 26th.
February 26th.
All right. So let's maybe chat about the next one you have planned.
So 2020 is going to be pretty busy for Zarua. So next game after that, I'm co-designing a game with Anna Maria Jackson Phelps. Who's an awesome lady. And so we're making this game inspired by our friend Kiki from Gamers Game Shelf. It's a synchronized swimming game. So you say, wow, that's an awesome theme. It is.
It is. That was exactly what I thought. Wow, that's an awesome theme.
Yes, because why not? So what this game is, it's gonna be a team versus team memory game. So all players will get their own deck of cards of 12 synchronized swimming positions. And what you'll want to do is, there's two phases. The first phase is First phase is planning out the routine. So teams will have a separate team deck where we have two teams. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be dolphins and sea lions. And with these 12 cards, they'll lay out a routine, and then they have to memorize it, and either team can call time, which means both of the team decks will be face down, and then they have to take their own decks and recreate that routine. And for every card that's matching for all the swimmers, then they earn a point.
Right.
So it's not a solo game. Like, you have to make sure that everybody on your team has it memorized.
Right. Because if you're like, okay, I got it for sure, time, but then no one else on your team gets it, no points.
0 points. So it's really fun. This is like the first game that I've designed where, like, from the first playtest, people were just having fun.
Oh, nice.
And it's a blast because it seems kind of silly because you're just synchronized swimming, but it's sort of a simple concept, but it seems like a great theme, lots of fun, great team play. I like the idea that there's no timer. It's based on someone being like, okay, I think we're ready. Yeah, I mean, they just call times.
Yeah, and I think that's probably key about when that's called. Because like you were saying that when we were chatting about this yesterday, that if you wait too long, then you know that, like, okay, I think the other team's for sure going to get it. We need to do it before we give too much time.
Yeah, because both teams are trying to memorize their routines at the same time. So you want to be the first ones to memorize and call time so that the opposite team doesn't have it down.
Right, exactly.
And it's played over for 4 rounds, which is plenty for your brain.
Yeah, I was just sitting and
yeah. But it's funny because we don't have names for the poses or anything. Right. So it's really interesting to see what people come up with.
Right.
So
you mentioned there's different rounds. And so the first one, or is it always in the same order that you do it?
So
Like the
each
first one
round
you just
will be
look-
played differently. So
Right.
there's cards, which these are just prototypes still,
Yeah.
and we're still testing out what they'll be.
Mhm.
But so each round will play differently. So for example, one round, only 3 cards are face up at a time. So
Okay.
in order to memorize the next ones, you have to like flip one face down or whatnot.
Oh.
Or sometimes you could have a round where only one player can look at the routine cards at a time. So you have to memorize it and then pass it on to the next
Oh, okay.
person
That's fun.
as soon as you can.
Yeah.
So it's one of them is where the team cards are distributed on the team,
Mhm.
and you have to like tell your teammates what they are. And so there's gonna be some crazy.
Yeah, I think that one, all of the rounds sound really fun, but that one sounds especially fun, where you're trying to describe the different synchronized swimmers' positions to your teammates, and they have to memorize it that way. I think that's really fun.
Yeah, there's been crazy names for it. It's
it's
the one where you're drowning, but sit down, or your legs are like
And you might time this around the Olympics.
Around the Summer Olympics,
Yes.
so I think that's the perfect time for it.
Absolutely.
So that way you could get in the spirit.
Absolutely. Synchronized swimming is always one of the fun events to watch.
Yeah.
So I think people will be in the mood to play a game with that theme as well.
Yeah.
So how has it worked with the co-designing this game? Because Anna Maria as well doesn't live here.
No, so we've actually never met. But so that's interesting.
Right.
But with technology nowadays, it doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been great. Thankfully, we're both really excited, and we're both like really committed. So
Good.
it's been great. She has great ideas, and my ideas are just but we bounce off, brainstorm together, and we came up with this crazy thing.
That's really cool. So when you first wanted to, like when you first decided to co-design with Anna Maria, did you already have an idea for a game, or you're just like, oh, I wanted to co-design with you, let's just see what happens?
No, it was sort of random. Somebody on Twitter put out a thing saying like, what's a theme that's not done? And Kiki actually said synchronized swimming. So jokingly, I replied, oh yeah, like you have to you have cards and you have to do routine and then you have to like memorize it. And Anna Maria was like, that sounds awesome, let's do it.
Whoa!
And then I messaged her, are we serious? Are we doing this? And we are. So
that's amazing. That's awesome. So just from like around a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what about this? And then that actually sounds like the game, what you just said there. So it hasn't changed too much from the initial just sort of instant concept.
The main concept is pretty much the same. And then we've been kind of finessing with how many cards, what kind of poses, what happens in each round and all that. Yeah. So
and through testing, you've seen that you had to increase the number of positions?
Of cards. We started with 9 cards because I thought, like a sheet for print play is 9 cards.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that feels like a good number. But then that wasn't enough cards to trip up players.
Right. So you want to be challenging enough, but not too challenging. It's like a balance.
We're pretty mean. We have some of these poses. They're very similar. So it's it's pretty tricky. So like these two, there's one where the leg is in the back, one where it's in the front. So it's like upside down one, but which one? So it's.
And again, the art is so nice. It's just so like
it's still a work in progress.
I know, but still, my prototypes don't look like that. Do your prototypes look like that? Well, it's so nice.
I can do the art for free. So.
I mean, and especially in a game like this, the art is really key because you're staring at it and you need to, it needs to be an accurate depiction.
Yeah, but it needs to be visually clear as to what's happening. So it's been tricky, and then we have each swimmer is going to have different swimsuit color. Right. We're also going to have male synchronized swimmers. So we have to test with that. Is that going to be clear to memorize when it's different people on the card? So there's a lot of things to play test and figure out.
Time for that one.
And that's one of the things that I love about designing. It's like problem solving, right?
Yeah.
You have these problems, and then you have to figure out a way. Like, okay, how do I best like address this?
Yeah.
Or do I need to go a completely different direction?
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's been fun.
Yeah, that's what I love about it too. It's almost like a puzzle.
Exactly, puzzles are awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And we all love games. We love puzzles, and designing is like doing a puzzle, like figuring out a problem. And then sometimes you don't even know what the problem is.
Yeah, and it's completely self-inflicted.
Yeah, exactly.
Making up these puzzles.
We're making up our own puzzles to solve. I know, but it's a fun process as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you decided to jump into this world.
Yeah, me too.
It's been really great seeing all these games, but also chatting with you in person as well. And can't wait to see these Kickstarters launch.
Thank you.
And all your future games. Any last sort of thoughts you wanted to share?
No, it's been great having you.
Yeah, cool.
It's been fun. I hope to see some of you guys at Vida Dice Tower, and I think I'm going to try really hard to make it to Origins this year.
That would be awesome.
Maybe for some broad events.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We're trying to become a club, a registered club for Origins. Shannon and Kirsty are working on that. Thank you so much. And then we might run some events. So it'd be so awesome if you're there. I'm going to be there for my first time too.
Yeah.
Kathleen will be there. Shannon will be there. So that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to meet more women in games. That would be great.
Woo!
Because,
Well, good luck at the Unpub event tomorrow.
Thank you. That's
Again,
really fun.
if you're in San Diego or near San Diego, go check it out. What's it called? SCon?
SCon for Escondido Convention.
There you go. So SCon.
There's so many games, like the game library there is huge. So any game you want to try out, it's likely to be there. So.
Perfect. And this game will definitely be there.
Yes, along with I think there's 16 tables at the Unpub event for
Perfect.
designers. So there's going to be lots of unpublished games to try out
There you
and
go.
see. I'm sure there's a bunch of Kickstarters coming up. So,
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Thanks
Thank you.
everyone for watching. I gotta get up to turn it off. Need a remote. All right. Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.